Welcome to Sacred Rebels podcast, where we discuss life after trauma as we question societal norms and shatter stigmas. Are you a woman who longs for a sense of community and understanding? Well, stick around. There is a seat for you here. This is your host, Tay.
And co-host Amy.
And we're just two best friend millennial moms and entrepreneurs navigating life and motherhood while on a spiritual healing journey.
We don't do surface level, and we're definitely not your typical moms, so let's dig deep. We plan to cover it all and take you behind the scenes as we share our personal experiences, learn more about the holistic side of healing, and introduce all the incredible humans we've met along the way.
Join us as we share the good, the bad, and the ugly side of healing. We hope to help you step into your power. Thanks so much for listening. Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of Sacred Rebels. Tonight we have Brittany Vining here. She is a salon owner, she's an educator, and she is a spiritual member in our community here. And we're really just excited to hear from her and chit chat tonight, have some girl talk. So she pulled a card for us.
We gotta start with our deep breath.
With our deep breath, I almost forgot.
So we're just always gonna start, we always just ground down, center in, one hand on the heart, one hand on the belly. Expel all the air out, and then inhale, breathe in through the nose. Hold it at the top, and then slowly exhale. Let that shit go.
All right.
So I pulled number 8, and it's be the hunter, not the hunted. Do you feel you are at the beck and call of circumstances, situations, and relationships that are outside of your control? Is your attention being called away from what you love? From the passion, focus upon your own journey and create self-expression.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Hunted, not hunted.
The hunter, not the hunted.
Hunter, not the hunted.
Yeah.
So what does that mean to you? How do you really reflect? How would that pertain to your life today? Or how do you feel that kind of sits with you?
Well, just recently I've just felt a little in my own feels and kind of going up and down just in my own career. And I struggle, just like a lot of people, with purpose and what that means to me. And being in the hair industry, sometimes that brings a little bit of doubt. Social media kind of, it's huge in my industry.
Yeah.
And like everybody else, we only see the good. We don't see the bad.
Yep.
So you kind of can't help at times but compare yourself to everybody else. Mm-hmm. And so sometimes I just kind of let that seep in. And because of the circle the other night, we did static dance, and I kind of feel like that came out a little bit for me. And I've just been struggling with that. So coming here tonight and then also reading this, and then I was telling you I saw that rainbow on the way here. It was just like, okay.
Signs.
I think I'm back on track a little bit. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It was good. It was the first one, too.
Yeah,
so it was
good.
really cool.
I love that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, speaking of that ecstatic dance, that was incredible. You guys, we had our second women's circle on Saturday, and Brittany was here. She was at the first one as well. So we kind of just wanted to hear her take on it. And, because me and Ame obviously have, an incredible experience every time. But I really wanted to hear from someone who, experienced it with us. And so we both were just like, let's talk about the circle. And she was like, let me text Brittany and ask Brittany if she'll come in, So we decided... Well, Ame decided. I didn't decide shit. Amy decided that we were going to do an ecstatic dance. And if you don't know what that is, you can fucking Google it. And I was just like, okay, whatever. I was so nervous about it, so anxious. And I was like, I am not about to get up here. Because in my mind, I thought we were going to be picking a partner and dancing in the middle of the room, single file line. And everyone was going to be watching. And I was not willing or ready. Yeah. So I wanted to tell everyone, I wanted to be like, listen, this is what we're doing at this circle. So come at your own risk. This is what's happening, and she was like, absolutely not. Like, we're not telling anyone. And I was like, do you know how many people are going to be so fucking mad when they show up here? And like,
well, here's the thing, Tay, right? So when we started the Women's Circle, we never had like an idea of like what we were going to be.
Yep.
We just knew that when we started the Women's Circle, we were just it was going to come to us of like what we were supposed to do. It came to us at the little retreat that we did on the beach. We were like, we're going to start a podcast, and then we're going to start a Women's Circle, and it's going to be the Sacred Rebels, but we really have no idea what we're doing.
yeah.
So the first one, we had no idea what we were doing, and we just got journals, and like questions were like channeled to me. I like called her, and then Kaylin just went to an ecstatic dance. Kaylin from our podcast, if you listen, you know Kaylin, the stories of losing her daughter and her fiance. She went to an ecstatic dance. She's like, Amy, this is my purpose. This is like what I have to do. And so she led a couple, and then I was like, well, why don't you lead your first one to the women? Like, because that's what the Women's Circle is. It's what we talk about. It's not about Tay and I. It's about empowering women to step into their power like we have, and doing things outside of the box for you, and then sharing it with these women. So when Kaylin reached out to me and it came to me, she reached out and she was like, this is what I'm doing. I'm like, oh my God, you can lead your first one at the Women's Circle.
The circle.
And Brittany actually went to her first one that she co-led here at the studio. So if you want to talk about like that experience.
Yeah.
Well, I just came out of the first Women's Circle, and so I was all hopped up on spirituality that day anyway, and just like being with you guys, and it was awesome. So when you said ecstatic dance, I had no clue what it was. I didn't look it up at all. I just knew that I had to go. And for whatever reason, I was drawn to that. So when I got there and she made us look into everybody's eyes,
like already sweating again.
Yeah, I had been through something like that before. So I wasn't like totally foreign with it, but it was definitely weird, you know?
Yeah. So we'll talk about that just really quick. So you stand in a circle, you count off 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And you stand in a circle, and then you make 2 circles, like staring at each other, and you like lock eye contact with the person for like a few, I'd say like 15 seconds, 30 seconds, like together, and you like go
Feels
around.
like forever.
Yeah.
Feels like fucking forever.
And you like cry together, and you like hold each other, and you like make direct eye contact. It's like actually seeing people on a soul level and holding space. So you build that.
Yeah.
It's like trust. It's like trust building, basically.
Yeah.
It's like a bonding experience.
Yeah. And so after that, we just danced. And I remember feeling so insecure about it. I was like, I don't know. I literally had this thought. I don't know the last time I danced in a group and I wasn't fucked up.
Yeah. Same.
If it wasn't on other substances, it was definitely drinking.
Yep.
And so I just said, well, what do you feel when you're in that moment? And like take the substance away from it, and you can do it. You can do anything, so just do it. And I just embraced it, and I felt amazing. It kind of makes me choked up just thinking about it, because it really is such an amazing release, and I think that everybody should push themselves into things like that, because it makes you a stronger person. Like, what you say something about like at the end of, there's like a saying, I know I've heard you say it before, like at the end of something there's beginnings or whatever, but maybe I heard it somewhere else and I'm just thinking it's you, Amy, that says that. But
probably. I never know what I actually say, especially in like sound baths or like events like that, because I just like open myself up. And even these podcasts, like I literally on Wednesday morning I listen to them and I'm like, wow, Tay, we did so good. Like I had no idea I even said that. Like it's not me. Like it's
but feeling uncomfortable like pushes you to be more
uncomfortability
in
is growth.
Yeah, absolutely. So going into the second Women's Circle, I was just so excited because I had a feeling of what we were going to do, but I didn't really know. And so when everybody kind of freaked out, I wanted to be like, no, this is the coolest.
When I was looking around the room at some of the women who were like actually like mad, I was like, I was feeling their energy. I was like starting to sweat, and I was like, see, this is why I wanted to tell them, and in the back of my mind, I always knew, like, no, she was right. I knew it in my heart. Like, no, they don't, like, nobody would have came if we, And literally, like, we said, raise your hand if you wouldn't have came if we said that this was going to be ecstatic dance.
like
And I
more
think
than
like
half the
10,
class.
yeah, 10 out of 20 girls were like, me, like, I wouldn't have fucking came. Like, I just drove an hour here and like, I'm not here for this, you know? And everyone stayed. Everyone stayed. You had the option to leave. Obviously, Amy didn't give permission, but like, who is she? You know, they could have left. Like, we weren't keeping anyone at their own will. Like, everyone could have left, you know?
And that was the thing was, and what I said to everyone is I said, Kaylin, and Taylor put the intention out. We knew what we were going to be doing 3 weeks before so that energy was out there. So the people that signed up energetically, there is no coincidences. Everything is happening for us.
Yeah.
Like, that energy was out there. The people that were supposed to be there were exactly the people that were supposed to be there in that thing. And everybody needed that moment. And sometimes it's like you would have never ever done something like that. Or like wanted to do something like that but didn't have the courage to do something like that. And then we made the eye contact. We did a breathwork practice, and we all set an intention, and everyone's intention was so beautiful too, just to like have freedom and to like grow and just to be present and to, you know, let go of anger and like let go of whatever it was,
Grief, all of it. Yeah. What did you set for your intention? I can't remember.
Just to move stuck energy.
Yep.
And I did.
Yeah.
Because I've been going through it.
We did.
After.
Yeah.
I've definitely been in my feels. I like messaged Kaylin after, and I was like, thank you so much. You know, I mean, even listening to the podcast, like, had brought me here, you know, like, having women and having this circle is so much more than I think that you guys even know.
Well, we do know because I needed it.
Yeah.
We needed it.
Yeah.
So we knew that there were others that needed it too because we desperately needed it.
Because we feel alone.
Yeah.
I think as women, we really do feel alone. And so this ecstatic dance was like, you don't feel alone. You can be as weird as you want to be right now. Like,
doing
get
weird
out of your
shit.
friggin' body. Like, who cares what you look like? It doesn't matter.
Yep.
I mean, there was like girls dancing in their bras. It was amazing.
It was incredible.
I was
Sweaty
like, this
hot
is
messes.
awesome.
Yeah.
You know, and screaming and chanting.
And
It's
no
great.
competition.
Right.
Because,
Yeah.
like, I'm sure you get it in the hairdressing world. I can, like you said, social media, like, feeling less than, not feeling good enough, like, catty. Like, I'm a licensed cosmetologist, and after going to hair school, I love doing hair. Like, when I was in hair school, I was doing an apprenticeship down in Boston. Like, I was really good at color. Like, I was really good at doing hair. And there was no fucking way that I was going to work in a salon. The amount of toxicity, competition, like, and I was like going through everything with like sobriety, and like I was only a couple years sober, and like trying to like figure things out, and like it just like did not align. So that was just like, I was just like, I finished. I'm not a beauty school dropout. I did get my certification, but I could never work in a salon. So I'm sure like not trusting women and like not like, you know, being in that kind of environment, and then coming into a woman's circle and being like, wow, I have to like, and so many women have that competition, like, oh my God, is that person going to dance better than me? Or like, am I going to, you know, feel comfortable taking my bra off, or my shirt off, or like whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like,
100%. It's hard. I mean, I'm a girly girl. I love women. I want to like have friends. I want to go to brunch. I want to get my nails done with girls. I want to go shopping, and I want to like hang out and like have a couple bevies and like have a good time, you know? But now I'm 37, and I also want to like go home, and like, so you're stuck sometimes. Like, everybody's doing their own thing. Some people have kids, some people don't. Some people have businesses, some people have just like really intense jobs. Like some people live like across town or this, and it's so hard to just keep those relationships. So this came at such a great time. And I never knew that I needed ecstatic dance until I was told about it and just went. And I think that we should do more things like that. Like, if you're ever nervous about going to yoga, I hear it all the time. Oh, I can't go to yoga because I'm not flexible. I'm like, that's not what it's about.
Yeah.
It's not what it's about. Like,
I can't touch my toes.
Yeah, it's not what it's about. It's not about the poses. It's not about standing on your head. It's about internally dealing with your own stuff.
Yeah, the mindfulness.
That 60 minutes on your mat is life.
Yeah.
And it's hard.
Yeah.
but you get through it,
Yeah.
you know? So it was just really cool.
Yeah,
I really
I'm
loved
definitely
it.
a believer now. I told Caitlin, I said, I swear to God, every single one you do now, I'll be
Yep.
at. 'Cause
Same.
I was not expecting that. Like, I think I had, right, another perfect example of expectation, though, right? I had all these, like, crazy thoughts going through my head because they told me, like, what we were doing, but I didn't look it up. I didn't, like, put too much thought into it. I was just like, nope, not thrilled. Want to tell everyone, like, this is so fucked up, like, you know. And then I ended up absolutely just embracing and loving every moment of it. And I was like, this is the best feeling because I love music is my love language. Dancing is my love language. So I'm like, okay, this is actually like incredible.
Yeah.
Like it's like a night out at the club with my girls and like we're doing weird ass
And
shit.
we're sober.
Yeah, and so sober. Which like I've gone to plenty of festivals sober and stuff with my husband, but it's different. It was different being in a room full of women feeling the exact same way. Like sober and doing some weird ass shit.
Yeah.
Well, it's with the intention of healing.
Yes.
Right? Like we set an intention and you know, I've never done that was my first ecstatic dance. I had never done one before.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no, I'd never that was my first one ever.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, I had no idea either. Kaylin like told me about it, but I'd never done one either.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I was just like here for it. I've heard about them, like Jeffrey does them and like
Yeah.
Gretchen, like there was some people that always
had
wanted
never
to
even
hold them
heard
and
about
it
it.
had never like happened at the studio. We've been talking about it, but then when Kaylin was just like, yeah, I'm doing it. She's having another one May 20th, I believe. We're going to be in Tennessee, but she's having one here at the studio. So if you're
Amazing.
listening, there'll be another one on May 20th. I just have to put it in Mind and Body, but it will be in Mind and Body by the time the podcast goes out on Wednesday because I can get taken care of tomorrow.
Yeah.
But you know, it was so different because we're in the healing container, right? That's what we call Sacred Moon is like the healing container.
Yeah.
Like it's a safe container. Like that is what my goal of this studio is, so that way people can come in here and they can take the masks off.
Yeah.
They can feel safe, they can feel supported, and they can fucking do the weirdest shit they've ever done in their life and be like, oh wow, I just did that.
Yeah.
And like, holy shit, I feel so fucking empowered. I feel so fucking amazing. I feel so supported and like
And seen.
Scene.
Because that's how I felt the first time. I just
So
felt
seen.
seen. It was really weird to like sit in that room and not know. It was like basically like I know Amy and I just met you, Tay, and it to hear other people say things that I always felt. It was like, oh.
Yeah.
Like I'm not the only one, because you do, like I just said, you feel really alone.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it
the
was great.
first women's circle, like when we all went around the room and like answered those questions, and literally every single woman said the same thing in like different words of all just like feeling alone and not feeling connected and not feeling seen. Like that's it. Like that's the majority of us, and it's not just women, it's men too. Like if men could like tap into their femininity and like get out of their masculinity and just be like, wow, I actually really want to be seen too. Like that's where like the real healing starts. Like that's what it is. Like we all have to balance our masculine and feminine energy. That's like all that this like healing process is about. Because if we were able to come in balanced at those, then we show up as a whole person and we show up into a relationship as a whole person. And if our partner has equal feminine masculine energy and there is no gender roles or any of this, it's like, okay, cool, like you got me when like I can't get me, and like I got you when you can't get you, and like it's not like this, oh, like you need to pick up this, you know what I mean, just like this toxic masculinity, toxic femininity. Like it's just like it's all a thing. And if we can just like learn how to honor that and just be like, yeah, you know what, like I just really need to be seen today. Like that's what I need in general. And it's not even in a relationship, it's in friendships. Like,
well, if you see yourself, then people will see you too. Like you're only going to meet somebody where you stand. That was one thing that I learned a while ago and have been working towards. And you know, you get comfortable in the uncomfortable.
Yeah.
When I heard that, it changed a lot for me.
Yeah.
Because I was very uncomfortable or comfortable in the uncomfortable for a long time. That was just part of my body chemistry.
Yeah.
Just because of other things in my life. But
Yeah, so why don't you tell us a little bit about that? Like what brought you to the idea of holistic healing or yoga or our women's circle or just like anything? Like what is something that you struggle with that you think another woman could really benefit from hearing?
well, probably about 7, 8 years ago, I truly feel like I had a spiritual awakening. And I have the date tattooed on my hand, 7/20/17, which my favorite lucky number is 7, 17, 77, anything with a 7 in it. So that was pretty significant. And that stemmed from a terrible, terrible relationship that I had for 3 years. That as a strong being, I couldn't even believe that I was in the situation that I was. I didn't even realize how bad it was until I was basically out of it. But before that, before I met that person, I was just flailing through life. I mean, and we could go all the way back to childhood and all of that stuff, but there was a lot of things that happened to me in my life, and how I dealt with it, and how I didn't know how to deal with it. You know, I had an alcoholic father. I had a mother who was totally reckless with her own feelings and didn't know how to take care of herself when it came to her emotional being. And I mean, my parents are wonderful. They're great human beings, and they love and care for me. And I had a great childhood in its own right. You know, the outside looks wonderful, and that's just kind of how my family was. Everything looked perfect, but really on the inside it wasn't. So a lot of stuff happened that kind of propelled me to being basically a wild child. I was a stripper for a short period of time.
Sports single mom.
Stripper gang.
Get it, girl.
You know, so
No shame around here
this
about
is crazy
that.
because this is stuff like I genuinely don't talk about at all. A lot of people don't
story. We all have a
know
past.
about it.
Like
yeah.
that doesn't define who we are today, right?
No, absolutely. It's just like crazy now that I'm on a podcast being like, So I used to dance around a pole for money. But I did that for a little while, trying to find love in all the wrong places, basically. And so when I met this person, he was a completely different human being than anybody else that I dated. He had no tattoos. He worked in politics. He was everything that my mom and dad wanted me to be with, because he was the exact opposite of everybody else I brought home. And I never told a single soul how bad it was until the end. I just wanted it to work so bad because everybody else thought I was doing so well. So when I got out of that, I remember one of my friends while we were packing up my house, and she said, "Aren't you going to miss him?" Because she didn't really know what was going on at that point. She just knew I was leaving and didn't really understand why. And I was like, my best friend would never do the things that he did to me. And at that moment, I knew that I was growing and that something was happening to me, like, energetically.
Yeah.
I didn't really know what, because I wasn't sure about all of that stuff at that point, but I knew I was changing. And so I moved back into my parents' house, which was good, and then it was bad because I went right back into the thing that kind of made me that person.
Yeah.
So I got out of that real quickly, moved in with one of my friends, and then I just started this journey, and it was really messy and emotional, but a lot of fun all at the same time. And one day I just woke up and I went in the shower and I cried like I've never cried in my life. And I just felt like something clicked. And I will tell people that when I felt this, it was like my brain turned on. Like it was like, oh my God, I'm
like a revelation.
Literal out of body experience, like had no clue where it came from or why it was coming from until I started like really reflecting on that. I had met somebody who was in the spiritual realm, and he put me on to Abraham Hicks.
Yep.
And so from then on, I just listened to her every single day, and I started doing yoga. And that's when things just started like changing, and I started figuring out truly that I had no self-esteem beforehand, even though everybody, if you ever talk to them, they'd be like, oh, she's the most confident person in the world, but I definitely wasn't. And I started to like rebuild myself from that moment on. I just changed. I just knew that I needed to respect myself better. I need to really like find who I was. And so my mantra basically from that moment on was, what do you want? So any other time that I've ever been like in a situation where I've felt unsure or like lost in a way, I've always just sat there and go, what do you want? And I'll say that over and over and over again until I can figure that out.
I love that.
And then I just like move on from it. But I've had a lot of really good people in my life that have shown me or taught me in ways, and they didn't even really know it. And that was the yoga community, really.
Yeah.
So sorry that I'm like, my throat.
Don't be
No,
sorry.
I love it. What do you
It's
mean?
it's just a lot,
That's
you know?
what it is. It's
Yeah.
like
It's a lot.
It's coming up.
Yeah.
when we're sharing vulnerability, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and I get the amount of messages, like my new Instagram presence and like the things that I'm sharing and what I'm sharing in here and the podcast and just everything that's happened in the shifts in the past couple months. The messages in my DM about vulnerability and like people just being like, yes, like same, like, oh my God, I relate. Like this feels so good to like not feel so alone. And like when you're sharing vulnerability in a yoga class as a yoga teacher or just anything, even the connections that you make in a class with the people practicing next to you,
Yeah.
being like, wow, I'm not alone. And it's like, that's it. Like you actually don't know who you're helping when you're just sharing authentically.
Speaking. Yeah. Your truth is just spewing, you know? And it's so funny that you say that you like struggled with self-esteem and all of those things, but people thought you were the most confident person, because I think that's something that a lot of people can relate to. I know I can relate to that. I know you can relate to that. It's like so true. People think that they have this idea or this image of you, but really they have no fucking clue,
No clue.
what is going on
No
internally.
clue.
Like no clue. Like you have no clue.
People
you don't know.
even try to get to know people half the
No,
time.
they
like
just
truly
assume.
get to know people, and especially in my opinion or in my experience, and like we've said, maybe it's because of the industry that I'm in, but like it's just so competitive and they put a label on you immediately and just want to say, oh, she's just like that. Why? Because like you think you know who I am. It's just
very surface level.
It's very surface level.
Again, we don't do surface level here,
No.
guys. We don't do surface level.
And then feeling like, you know, you're not seen by other women and not being understood. I mean, I truly feel like my whole life has felt that way,
Yeah.
you know? So it's hard. And when coming into a situation like you guys are offering, it's just so wonderful. Like go back to the fact that like I heard certain girls say things that like I genuinely thought that would only come out of my mouth.
Yeah, same.
Was just wild to me.
Yeah, I agree.
Like I reflect on that still. I'll be driving in the car and be like, oh my God, like I want to talk to that girl again because
Yeah.
I want to be like, can we?
Yeah, can we hang out? Like this is crazy.
You feel that way too? Yeah, it's like, holy shit. And it wasn't just like one person, right? It's not just like, oh my God, one person said what I said, so that like makes sense. It was literally 22 women saying the same thing.
It was so powerful.
There's like 3 colors that we had.
Yeah.
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 Almost everyone had the same color. That's what I mean. When we left that night, I pulled into my driveway to a fucking deer. Like, first of all, we hung out with May, one of my best friends who I literally haven't seen since like high school. We both did drugs together, like real bad. We lost 2 of our best friends together, like terrible, right? She's had her own journey. I had my own journey. She just had a baby. Like we both were having kids at the same. We were like doing the same things, but like separately. And then we just like came back together. And this was like the first time. That circle was like the first time that we had like came back together. So not only did we end an incredible night and like our vision came true, but like I got to hang out with my best friend who like I'm the closest with since like we were little. And then I literally pulled into my driveway that night after hanging out and crying and talking all night in the fucking car. And there was a deer in my driveway, and that is my best friend Cole, who's now dead. He comes to me in the form of a deer. So like I pulled into my driveway and I sat at the end of my driveway and I just stared at this deer, and it stared at me for like a good 5 minutes, and like I just cried, and it just watched me, and I just like my headlights were on it and it was staring at me, I was staring at it, and then like it slowly just like walked by, and I was like, what the fuck is happening? Like just every single sign like that. I left that night feeling so empowered and so seen and so like, this is it. This is it. This is what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be healing collectively, together. We can't do this alone. Like, we need each other. Like, we need each other.
And there's no hierarchy. Like, there's no, like, it's not like the Me and Tay show or, like, anything, you know what I mean? And that's, like, we're empowering other people to do it. And you say that about that. Kaylin messaged me when she got home Saturday night. There was a duck sitting in her driveway. When she got home, she posted about it. And like, a duck was, like, the spiritual meaning of a duck was... I don't know, she, like, posted about it today, and I was just like, and she texted me, she's like, look at what was sitting in my driveway, and look at what it means.
Amazing.
And it was something about collective healing. Like, the duck is, like, a symbol of, like, global, like, something, and I'm like, yo, I can't with the signs and nature. Like, this is what we always talk about. It's the cards, it's the thing. Like, if you are open to it, you will get clear
Messages.
Direct messages if you are asking and if you believe, because it's so easy to be like, oh yeah, I'm asking these things, and then get a sign and be like, oh, there's like a meme that goes around, it's like, I need a signier sign.
I need a real signier sign.
I need a signier sign, please. Like, that sign that I know is, because like, we know, right, like, intuitively we're like, oh, whoa, okay,
but like, was
it.
that it? Was that the sign, or am I just like second guessing it? You know, that's
Well,
why
we're
it's like, I need a
programmed.
signier sign, because was that it, or like, was that just coincidence? But like, there are no coincidences. I believe that.
And we're programmed to dim our light.
Yeah.
We're programmed to not understand how fucking powerful we actually are as human beings.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. Like, and it's like, the more we connect to that, the more powerful we become, and they actually don't want us powerful, right? They want us dimmed. They want us easily controllable. They want us wearing masks in our vehicles alone.
Right.
Fact.
That's like where they were like going with that, right?
Yeah.
And like, you see the people that are doing that.
I
Like, if
know.
you're doing that, I'm really not making fun of you. I just really wish you would take your mask off in your car
And
alone.
breathe.
And
Breathe some fresh air.
just breathe. It's gonna be okay. Nobody's dying anymore. Weird. so weird. But we won't
that
get
was
into
like
the conspiracy
I know, but
theory of it all.
that was a collective shift. I don't
Yeah.
know if it was for you, but that was the shift for me.
It's when I opened up my business.
COVID hit, and I was like, yo.
I was doing yoga teacher training, and I will finish it at some point. But I started it before COVID. COVID hit, and then it went to virtual. And there was just something about virtual. It just didn't really feel right. And I can't sit still. I have to constantly do something. My brain just like, I have to, make something. And so I have clothes galore, because that's just like what I'm obsessed with is fashion and buying clothes. And I just said, you know what? I am not making any real money right now. I'm home, and what am I going to do? So I started my business through selling clothes and making T-shirts. My boyfriend gave me a huge Tupperware thing of his old band T-shirts that he didn't want anymore. And so I started cutting them up and doing tie-dye and bleach dyeing, and I was selling them all over the country for $35, $45 a pop. And so I was like, I've always wanted to name my business The Salty Blonde, and so I was like, oh, I'll just have this little online thing. And so then I just said, Tim, I am going to start a salon. I'm going to do it. That's what's happening. I'm doing that. And so I thought, well, I'm going to have to get a loan. I'm going to have to do this. I'm going to have to do that. And then it all came together, and terrible circumstances happened before that, but it was for a reason.
Yeah.
And just because it wasn't smooth sailing the whole way doesn't mean that it wasn't the perfect way for me to get there. Because if I wasn't put in the circumstances that I was in, I would have never known that all I needed was a 2-room little spot.
Yeah, space.
A friggin' sink and a chair.
Yep.
That's all I needed.
Yeah.
I was like, I can do that.
Yeah.
I'm paying rent anyway. Why would I want to pay rent to somebody who's not sharing my dream? So that's how The Salty Blonde started, and it's been great ever since. I'm obsessed with having my own spot. It's awesome, because then I'm put in a situation with my clients, and I mean, some of them I've been doing literally for 19 years.
Yeah, that's insane.
I've known some of these people for they've known
loyalty.
me, and they've seen it all.
Yeah, grow. You guys grow together. That's it. Seasons of life.
I mean, I've been successful my whole career, but I was just a functioning fuck up for a long time.
I love that. Functioning fuck up. Let's hashtag that.
For a while, just flailing. That's
Yeah.
all I can say.
Yeah.
And the fact that, like, you know, they still stuck by me and they saw me through everything, you know, really goes to show just like how great some people truly are. But I didn't even know some of these people past, even though I've known them for that long, until I got them in one room. So, like, talk about, like, just, you know, one-on-one, like, spirituality in such a different form, you know, because, like, there's something about, like, sitting in that chair, getting your hair done and looking straight ahead and, like, just telling your stylist everything.
Hairdressers are therapists. They're
Yeah.
the real
All
MVPs.
these secrets in these
100%. My hairstylist knows every fucking thing about me. My lash girl, well, I don't do lashes anymore, but when I was going to see my lash girl, she knew every single detail of my life, all the drama, all the chaos. Like, she knew it all. Like, it's just so true. Like, you feel safe in a spot where you can just open up and you're there to listen. I mean, even if you don't really want to hear it.
And you're being taken care of.
You're being
like,
taken care
provided
of.
a service that's, like, making you feel good about yourself.
And beautiful,
And this
yeah.
person's, like, supporting you in that. So it just, like, feels comfortable to, like, be supported. And, like, hairdressers, like, are the real MVPs.
They really are.
Yeah, so
Therapists in their own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm like, and I'll charge you for that because you've sucked the life out of me today.
But seriously, yeah, that's incredible. And I'm just so grateful that, again, like, these connections are made and you are showing up, and I got to meet you through AIM and through the studio and through you coming here. And that's just a gift in itself. And you, even just sitting here tonight, like, right, like, I've seen you a couple times now, but I didn't know your story. Like, I didn't know any of the things. I didn't know what you struggle with. Like, yeah, we share, but it's, like, very, you know, quick because there's so many of us. But that just goes to show you never know. Like, you never know what someone goes through. And that's why I think over the years I've just learned, like, not to judge off of what I think. Like, I'm, like, the queen of expectations and all these ideas in my head, and, like, I've had to, like, completely drop that because I'm like, wait, like, I actually don't fucking know, like, anything. And I think that's just that's an important lesson, is just, like, you don't know, period. Like, you don't know what you don't know. And it's really it's things like this and things like this that really give us the opportunity to get to know one another on a not surface level. Because, again, like, how are you doing? Oh, I'm fine. But, like, are you?
Right.
Are you fine? You know? So, yeah.
Are you fine?
Fucked up, insecure, neurotic, and emotional. Yes.
No, and I feel like since we've started this, and since we've started Sacred Rebels, and since we've started the Women's Circle, and definitely the podcast, the amount of connections, the amount of the women that are coming on in, like, the next few months, like, I've just been, like, reaching out to, like, so I did this thing called Landmark, and I've talked about Landmark in, like, a lot of our podcasts, and, like, the biggest thing that I took out of that Landmark, and I've actually, once I've listened to the 4 agreements.
So Landmark is a, like, self-development
weekend.
Yes.
That you can look it up online. It's like a weekend, and it really just talks about, like, how we put meaning on life and, like, all these things. Have you ever done Landmark?
No.
Have you ever heard of it? It's amazing. It's definitely life-changing.
I know. I was supposed to do it before COVID hit.
Yeah, you had signed up, right?
And they were like, we're not doing it anymore. Here's your refund. I was like,
yeah.
It was like a stab to the heart.
I'm sure they're doing it again because
yeah.
I've been getting the emails again.
I definitely want to do it.
The biggest takeaway that I took away from my weekend in Landmark was just ask. Because the worst thing that's going to happen is say no, right? And that's what we're so afraid of. We're, like, so afraid to, like, ask these things because it's our ego, right? And I'm like, once you have ego death and you're like, wait, like, it doesn't actually fucking matter. And I'm just going to ask every single person that I've, like, admired, role models, like, all these things, right? Like, I'm just going to ask them because what's the worst they're going to tell me? They're either not going to read my message. Cool, like, it's not going to affect me. They're going to, like, kindly say no because most of these women I'm, like, speaking to are, like, powerful, like, women that are, you know, doing the same kind of work, right? So it's like they're not gonna, like, give me some rude response, or they're gonna say fucking yes. Like, what? Like, the amount of beautiful things and women that are, like, coming on that are, like, powerhouse. Like, we have a woman flying in from, I'm like, there's, like, a lot of secrets, right? Like, I want to surprise people with these few things that I have coming
let's not
up.
spread details.
I'm not I'm not. I'm like so excited. But I did like these people that are like big people and have big followings. I just like reached out and I was like, this is what we're doing. And I'd really like it if you came on my podcast. Would you come? And 100% of the people I've asked, I've gotten
yes.
100% of yeses.
Which is insane.
Like people that I never would have thought would even have read my messages. And they're like coming on our podcast. And I'm just like, okay. So just, we got to fucking do it.
But that, I don't want like, so it's like, it's bigger than that, right? Like it's, they're coming because it's like, this is the mission. Like collective healing is the mission. And they're like, fuck yeah, if we can help spread message of like what we're doing and what's working for us and what, you know, our suggestions, like fuck yes. And I think that's it, right? It's like, it's all aligned. It's because it's the mission. Like I truly believe it. And I think that this new era, especially like the era that like we're living in right now, is like, this is where we're headed. Like conscious living, like I see it, it's happening all over my social media, like in our world today. Like people are waking the fuck up and they're willing to like heal some shit. Heal some shit. And
to release the fact that women are competition, because we are so fucking powerful together. Like when we're having these circles and there's 22 women at the end of it and we're all connected and we're here in like the lobby and everyone's hugging and everyone's like, oh my God, I see you, like connecting, wanting to go out to dinner, like getting phone numbers, like connecting on social media. We have the Facebook page, like there isn't any like that cattiness, that like disconnect between women, the competition, like it's shedding. And once that sheds and we connect as women and start like really stepping into our power together and being like, wow, like you have my back and I have your back, and like this doesn't have to be this weird.
And it's not even a question. I think that's a big thing too, right? It's like when you make women friends, or when I used to make women friends, it's like, what's your intention? Like, why are we friends? You know, like it was always like there had to be some motive why you wanted to be friends with me or why we were friends. And so just shedding back that layer in itself and just knowing that every connection that is being made right now is genuine. Like, no, like I actually like want to see you win, and like I want to see you heal, and I'm trying to open myself up and do crazy things myself. So like, why not do it together? That's what's cool. Like I don't question any of the connections that are being made because I feel it on such a deep level that it's real. Like no, like you're actually here because you want to heal too.
Well, I mean, like jealousy, right? Like if it comes up, it's a natural thing. I mean, let's be honest, right? Like
course.
You're like, oh, well, what the heck? Like, why am I not?
Of course.
You have to ask yourself, what is inside of me that I am lacking, and what can I do to make myself like her, and not like her, but like powerful, like I see her, because that's what you're jealous of. In some regard, is that you feel that person has something that you don't. So it's like, instead of hating her, why don't you friend her?
Exactly.
And truly feel
take a page out of her book.
Exactly. How did you do this? Like, I want to be around women that push me.
Yep. Same.
I want to be around women that make me feel more safe. Yes, for sure. But also like call me out without judgment.
Yes.
That, because I'm an open book. I say what the fuck I feel.
Yep.
And it's gotten me in trouble my whole life.
Yeah.
I've learned to, be a little bit more.
Tone it back a little
bit as I've gotten older. But I want other women, I want friends of mine to just be like, no, Brittany, that wasn't cool. And then talk to me about it. Or be like, that was friggin' awesome, and celebrate me.
Yeah.
And then vice versa. Like, just because you have something that I don't doesn't mean that that's not a part of like my future.
Exactly.
Like,
open communication, I feel like, is the foundation of a good friendship. And that's like what we say all the time. Like, if you can't openly communicate with how you're feeling with me, then like, what the fuck do we have?
Right.
Like,
and your opinion of me is none of my business.
Yes.
None of my business.
Yes.
I don't care what you think or how you all the things that I've just said. I don't talk about that. Well, you know what? If someone's sitting here and they want to friggin' judge me and they think that they know me by listening to like a small bit of my story, just come and talk to me.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I have a lot more to say.
Exactly.
And you probably could learn, and I can learn from you too. And that's what we're missing. But it's vulnerability. as well, right?
Yeah.
Like when we talk about vulnerability, it's so hard to be vulnerable, and everybody's afraid of that. So we put up walls.
This
or
hard
it's a
exterior.
trigger. Yeah, like you know, you meet somebody, you think you're friends, and then like something happens where it triggers you, and you're like, no, I'm not going to talk to that person again.
Yeah.
And then you just shut down and you're not communicating how you felt, how that situation made you feel.
Yep.
And like I have amazing friendships, and like I'm going through a lot and my life is a lot, and we talk about it. And now like my friends, because of like who I am and the relationships that I've built, like feel my pain, right? And that's like eventually when you become that close with people, it's like it's a lot.
Like,
So-
your shit is my shit.
Right.
That's
And
just
it's
the
like-
type of friend I am. Like, all or nothing.
Yeah, and same, right? And so now I'm just like, even today, like I had some shit and I was like popping off, and you know, I like want to do the things, and I like bite my tongue, and I'm like, Tay, do you have, what did I say exactly?
Do you have the space to hear this? And I was like, yes, thank you for fucking asking. I
Listen,
love you.
I have one friend. I have literally one friend that understands that, and you have no idea, just because, and granted, like I'm going to say this, but I love my clients, okay? It's not that I don't.
Of course.
But I'm in an industry where it's constantly coming in, and it's my life, my life, my life, my life.
They unplug.
And some people
Yeah.
don't ever ask me, and that's fine. You know what I mean? It's not their job to ask me.
Yeah.
But it's very hard to then go home and then like be with your partner who might be going through their own things and having to listen to them. And then when you call a friend because they called you last week and you took the time to listen to them and they didn't ask you to
Yeah.
have space to hold for me, and you call them and they just immediately don't care, that is so hard to deal with.
Yeah.
Like that's where
Yeah.
you, again, coming back to feeling alone and just like,
Yeah.
so in the women's circle, like I don't know everybody really truly personally, but I do feel like I could say what I want to feel and it would be received.
Exactly.
So it's so special because like I feel like a lot of women don't get that from their friends.
Yeah.
And to
It's either it's
ask.
like one-sided where everyone
Yes.
just dumps, and then like you don't get anything in return, or vice versa. Like I'll dump, and then I'll just be like, all right, gotta go. Kids are screaming. Bye. Like,
right.
you know.
Yeah. Asking that question, I think, is like so important. Like, do you have space today to hold for me? That's-
100%. It's healthy boundaries, right? I don't think a lot of people realize. I've been learning this like through therapy the last year. It's like boundaries are in every relationship, not just your partnership, like home life, like sexual relationship. It's in friendships too. And I don't think a lot of people realize that, because I mean, I definitely didn't realize that, you know, like, oh shit, like I actually have to have boundaries with my best friends too, even though they're my best friends, and like I'll tell you everything and this or that, and I'm down for you 100%. But like, no, like I actually still have to create healthy boundaries, not only for myself, but for my family. And that's just obviously like where we've been at. But again, like we're so open and honest with each other that it would never affect us ever.
Yeah, and it's totally fine when she's like, or like when we're like, no, like I
Yeah,
can't.
I've had a tough
or,
week, like,
I've
I'm
like I just
losing
need a
it.
minute.
Yeah.
Like we're not having a play date this week. Like we're just gonna like
Yeah.
take a breath, and like I'm not offended by that. And like people just get so easily offended. It's like, oh my God, I can't believe you said that. You
But
didn't wanna
that's
do
the
that.
part where I have to learn around, right? Like, I think if I say no, she'll be so upset with me. That's not my shit to take on. Like, I just have to know that, like, I can say, okay, no, not this week, and know that she's going to be fucking fine. Bitch, I'll see you next week, you know? Like,
Well-
but in my mind, I'm like, oh my God, I'm hurting her feelings. I'm like,
People pleaser
she needs
shit.
me.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've gotten to a
people
point
pleaser.
where I'm just like, at this point, and it might be harsh for some people, but like if it is not serving me, and I don't mean that in a real selfish way, because I also feel like to be a great friend, be a great partner, person in society, you have to be selfish.
Yep.
You have to be. And therefore you can give all of you if you are selfish, if you take the time to like either go to yoga or meditate
Yeah, do
or
things for you.
just find whatever it is that's your self-healing. You have to do those things. You have to be selfish in those moments to then give what you can to everybody else.
Yeah.
And so if somebody is upset at me because I can't hang out with them or I can't hold space, I'm going through my own shit, that is not the person I need in my life.
Exactly. They don't respect your boundaries.
And it's not like a F you, it's just that's okay.
Yeah.
But that even pisses people off sometimes.
Yeah.
But I can't be bothered or worried about that.
Yeah.
Because I know the people that I care about and that love me and who's here for me. And that, at this point in my life, is enough.
Yeah, and you just have to remember the people that are here for
can't do
you,
it.
like, will respect your boundaries,
Yeah.
will maintain those things, will respect your no's, and will respect your wishes, and will respect your peace. Like, those are the people who unconditionally love you. The ones who don't are the one-sided friendships who are just like, oh, wait, what? You're
Right.
not here when I need you right now?
Don't get
You
hung
can't
up on those
provide
friends.
this for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
I literally lost like 6 or 7, which is I'm happy because I had like too many friends. Like, and it's exhausting, right? Because like, if you actually have a real friend, it's literally like a relationship, like a boyfriend girlfriend relationship. Because it's like, okay, I need to honor you. Like, I want to be there for you. I want to hold space for you, and I want you to hold space for me. And I want to, if you make me upset, I want to be able to have a conversation with you. Like, and if you have fucking 20 friends, good luck. That's exhausting because that's where I was at. Like, I was trying to hold space for so many people, and then once I like divorced and lost the lifestyle that I was in, I really realized who my true friends were, like the ones who have been there. And I went from having 20 friends to having 5 friends.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful, right?
So much happier, I
So
bet.
much happier.
And free.
And free, and like people that are actually ride or die for me. And the thing is that I was ride or die for all of those people because that's just who I am. I am an all or fucking nothing person, 100%. And like, I was making myself sick by being all or nothing in these relationships and like not having that in return. And now I finally have friendships that value me, honor me, like see me as that like, you know, giving person, and like, it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God
it is
does
beautiful.
amazing things for us, right? God does things for us that we don't know that we actually need.
Yeah.
And that's just like removing the
surface level
I don't
shit.
want to say dead weight, but like dead weight. Like,
Yeah, or the surface level shit. Like,
yeah.
no, I'm just like not here for that anymore. I'm like, I'm almost 40 and like I have kids and a business and I'm like trying to do all these things. Like, I'm just going to keep these 5 friends for the rest of my life. Cool if like other people come and like we grow these things, but like I'm really like not looking for more like deep. Obviously, I'm never going to be like, no, but it's like hard, right? Because it's like, this is a lot, like it is a lot of work and that's okay.
Yeah.
And I'm willing to do the work in these friendships because I want growth, but it's exhausting.
Well, it's like you have to keep up appearances, or you have to like even just keep yourself going all the time. I mean, it's hard to get up and like talk yourself into like getting up, going to work, doing this, doing that. It's a constant grind, right?
Yep. Discipline.
And some days you just want to like, I know I do. I want to sell everything and I want to move to a
Run
different
and hide.
country
Oh, yeah,
and change
girl.
my name. And
Oh yeah, I want to move to Mexico. I want to move to Mexico and have a taco car and like, you know, have beer and tacos and just
I just
like
want to live
on
in the
beach.
jungle and live off the land. And Dill's like, okay, babe, what fucking universe are you living in? I'm like, this one right here.
Yep, all the time. I want to do that all the time.
But that's normal.
Yeah, of course. It's like good to, cause like right one day like that's the goal. Like I tell him all the time, like, babe, we're gonna have a house in the jungle one day, whether you like it or not. Like you're coming or you're not.
Yeah, because
like,
Sacred Rebels will be in Costa Rica and we're just gonna be running.
we're gonna be
yoga
like running retreats and all of the things. Like this is
I
gonna
see
happen. The
it.
universe is gonna open and we're gonna heal collectively with women and build beautiful partnerships. And I just like feel it and it's happening. And I want a house in the jungle one day.
We were just talking about Costa Rica, me and my friend
Yeah.
Jen. We were just talking about that.
No.
Like, I want to go to Costa Rica
So
so
bad.
bad and
So
do a yoga
bad.
retreat. So you
Yeah,
get
so
that
let's do
together.
it. We're doing
I'll,
it.
I'll help in
We're
any way
doing
that I
it.
can.
Yes, we're doing it.
It's already happening.
We're
You know,
doing it.
Everything that we make, like the donations. Obviously, our first retreat will not be in Costa Rica. It's going to be at the little place, you know, down at the beach, and it'll be in the winter, and we're going to jump in the ocean and do all the things and do everything that we did on that
Alice's
one.
house was absolutely beautiful. The energy there, like that will be the first. That will be the perfect.
Because we got to start small, you know.
Of course, yeah.
And do the things, but we'll probably have Kaylin running a static dance at it. Like, it's
Yeah.
just like
It'll be so
all
fun.
the people are coming together, right? Like for it to what we've manifested. And even like this, like it's the people that are coming on, like it's just like unreal. Like we have doctors like reaching out to us. Like
It's
there's,
incredible.
like that like want to be on
like holistic health doctors that are willing to change the world holistically, like
and that have a
and-
million letters after their name, and we're like,
Yeah, but are you
want
sure?
to sit with us?
Like, we're like ex-heroin addicts. What? You want to sit with us? What?
Yeah, but it's powerful. I mean, that's like
Yeah.
truly why it like brought me to the Women's Circle in the first place is
Yeah.
because you guys advertise the podcast, and I'm obsessed with podcasts. I always look for new ones.
Dude, start one. Do it. We were just
Maybe.
talking about it. Start one. I'm serious. Do it.
Everyone needs to.
Yeah.
If you want to,
if
if
you
you're
have
called,
a tug in your heart, you do it. Like, you do it.
Well, we'll talk about how you guys did it after we're off this.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I really felt so drawn to that. And then I just think that if you put that energy, if you're really tuned in to your higher self, and if you've gotten to that point where you feel that,
Yeah.
then you'll never not somehow jump back on it. I mean, you'll always come back out of the vortex, but like you can get back in it.
Yeah.
And when you are connected to your higher self, then you are connected to everybody else that is connected to their higher
Yeah.
self. So I mean, it's no coincidence
Yeah.
that all of this is happening with you guys
Yeah.
and for you guys right now, because you are putting the energy out there, and it will, like, we're all little tornadoes
Yeah.
when it comes to like being an energetic
I
person.
totally believe that.
And I'm a very empathic person. I feel everything.
Same.
Like,
Same.
it's probably why I've kind of had conflicts with people. It feels like more than others at times, is because I feel so much.
So deeply,
and
yeah.
then like my energy with other people's energy, it's just like, oh, that doesn't feel right. I don't feel right in this situation. But when you are an empathic person and you do find your higher self, it is amazing what happens in the people that you meet. And when your little tornado just starts, just spins, because you'll just pull people right on in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, everyone is put in our path for a reason. You, these doctors, like, I believe that wholeheartedly. You were sitting here with us for a reason. Like, someone is going to hear this and they're going to be like, oh my God, I need to reach out to Brittany. Like, you know, that's just what I believe. And it's what's been happening. Like, we post an episode and I'll get someone to like want to get connected with the person that we interviewed. And I'm like, here's their Facebook or here's their Instagram. Go ahead. Like, that's what it's about for me. It's like building these connections and like just spreading awareness and love and light through all of this, through the community. And that's our goal and our mission. The ripple effect is massive. It's fucking massive. And I don't think I realized, like, because in my mind, like, of course, self-doubt, like, all this stuff, like, we're like, oh, we're going to start a podcast. And then I'm like, no one's going to fucking listen. Oh my God, these people are going to make fun of us, like, whatever. Like, and then I was like, you know what? Fuck that. Like, our people will find us and they will be tuning in, and that's just it. And that's exactly what happened.
you know, Brett, if there's one thing, we'll wrap it up, because we've been just like rambling and just like girl talk, and it's so beautiful, right? And that's what it is, and that's what we were talking about. Like, anybody, like, this is the message. If you have something to share, you have a story to share, you have questions, like, we are here and we would love to have you on it. Like, you can sit with us, like, you can be a part of this. Like, we want you to be a part of this. We want people to tell their stories. We want powerful women to be like, wow, I like suffered for this long, and like I turned to holistic healing, and like this is my result as you know, healing my own trauma through holistic healing. That's like it, right? And there's gonna be so many people that like relate to your story and like why you showed up here. And if there's one like message that you really want to get across to our listeners, like, what would that be?
It would be to find a way to move your body and sweat. Because I think for myself, that's when the healing really started, is when I felt that release. And then the messages that I get at yoga, it started all to click. And so when your body moves that energy and you start to release those toxins and everything out, you make a connection in your brain, and then you start to connect to your higher self. And when that happens, it's just such a beautiful thing.
Yeah. I agree.
So
I love that.
That's, if you feel like you're not flexible, it doesn't fucking matter. It's nothing about
Everyone
the postures.
starts somewhere.
It doesn't matter. Just go.
Yeah.
Just show up. Because like even the static dance thing, I could have looked it up.
Yeah.
I could have totally canceled the class, but I didn't want to know what I was going into. And I wanted to push myself a little bit more, but move your body every day.
Yeah.
Even if it's in your own house, just move your body. Go for a walk, get outside, do these things, and then your brain will start to train itself to get to a better place of understanding who you are.
Yeah.
Well, our muscles release. This is like a new study, and I shared something on it on my Facebook a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I saw that. I actually loved it.
So when our bodies have a chemical in our muscles that are a natural antidepressant.
Yep.
And so they're doing all these studies, and like our issues lie in our tissues. I always talk about it, and our trauma is actually stored in fascial tissue. And as much as talk therapy, and like I love talk therapy, and I've done EMDR, and I've done all these things, my real healing started when I started a movement practice, when I started booty yoga, because the cool thing that people don't actually tell us is that our bodies don't have a logical mind on trauma. Like, our bodies store trauma, and it isn't like the way our minds think. It's like, okay, cool, like I was sexually molested as a child, like I have all these things that have happened to me. And yes, I've talked about it, but it wasn't until I started moving, and now they have like yoga therapy and like all these things where you're like talking about it and moving, but you actually don't have to talk about it to remove the trauma from our body. And people don't realize our body triggers us to make our mind think that it's our trauma trigger. And it's our bodies that have the reaction first.
Yep.
So we'll actually have probably a whole podcast. I'll probably get Sammy, because me and her used to run a trauma and like yoga workshop and like talk specifically.
Someone on here about somatic healing too.
Yeah, all that stuff. So it is so important. Yes, move your fucking body.
Yeah. Just move.
I go to the gym on a regular basis, not because I really enjoy the way my body looks. That's just a bonus. I say it. It's literally a perk. It's the way I feel when I'm working out and I'm doing yoga and I'm moving my body. The feelings, the happy chemicals are released in our bodies. And there's a lot of people that go to the doctors, and like, if a doctor would say, try for 6 months to drink 8 ounces of water before you put anything else in your body, right? Like, I've been really trying to do that practice. Before you put coffee in your body, like, drink 8 ounces of water before you put coffee in your body. Get outside, stare at the sun, put your feet in the earth, and move your body for 6 months. And try that for 6 months and see how you feel before I put you on a substance that's going to chemically alter your mind.
Yeah.
And I believe that if people did more of that.
I don't even think you need 6 months. I think you need 30 days of that.
You just need to get up. Like, you have,
it's like a quick shift once you start. Like, it's not like
you just need to get up. Like, if your brain has a thought of doing something, do it in that moment.
Yep.
Don't wait to the next one, because the next one will probably be a bad one.
Yeah.
It will tell you to not get out of bed. Oh, I'm comfortable. Oh, I really need rest. Oh, I'm this. Oh, I'm that.
Just
if
one
you
more
just
episode.
Get up and go. You're going to feel a lot better.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I agree.
Move your fucking body. And on that note, we will end the same way we start, with really just connecting back into our bodies, into our breath. One hand on the heart, one hand on the belly. Take a big breath in through the nose. And then slowly exhale, release. Let that shit go.
Thanks so much for listening. Thanks, Brett, for being here with us.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening.
And we'll see you all next week.
Bye, guys.
Thanks so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to listen to what we have to say. It means the world. As always, we want to end this episode by reminding you that we are not medical professionals and we are not giving any type of medical advice. We are simply sharing our experience and solutions.
We are here with the intentions of reminding you that you are never alone and that everyone's healing journey is unique to the individual. Make sure to follow us on all social media platforms to stay updated. Stay well, Sacred Rebels. See you next time.